Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about how to host your first virtual event using TriviaHub Live. I'm going to start here from the introduction page. The first thing you're going to want to do is get a game. So you'll go up to this Games tab. This is where all of the trivia questions are going to be that are going to allow you to host a game. You can see here we have lots of different pre-built games that our teams have created for you. You can go ahead and preview any of those games by clicking over here. Once you go in, you'll see all of the rounds in the game. You'll also see all the questions. You can go ahead and get a little bit of a preview of what's in the game. And if you see what you like, you just go ahead and hit this Add to My Games button. What that'll do is that'll then download the game into your My Games tab. You can then go take a look at the game, and from here you can do any editing that you want to do to it. So you can do that anytime by hitting this big Enter Edit Mode button. That'll allow you to add rounds, to change questions, and make really any updates you want. One thing we might recommend here is if you are targeting to do about a 60-minute game, you're probably going to want a three-round game. So all you would need to do is go into that edit mode and just remove rounds 4 and 5 from one of our pre-made games in order to get a targeted round. So yeah, that's how you get your content set up. The other thing you'll need to set up is you'll need to go in this Locations tab and add a new location. All you'll do is hit that Add Location button, choose a remote location, and then that'll allow you to get started. Once you've got your game and a location set up, then you can actually schedule your event. So you go into the Events tab and click the Create Event button. You can go ahead here and name your event. We do have an option to make your event public if you do want to list it on our public site for more people to come to. Otherwise, you can unclick that and make it just a private game so that listing won't be up there. We'll go in here and just pick a date. You can pick any time that'll work for you, and then you can pick how long you want it to be. If you do want to award prizes, you can note those here. If you have multiple hosts set up in your account, you can pick that. Otherwise, you just pick yourself, and then you go ahead and pick a game that you want to play. All right. Now we've got your event scheduled. Just kind of click back into the upcoming events area to get into it. You'll see here that the event has been created, and what's been generated is this event URL and then also this event code. So those are the things that you're going to use to allow your teams to register to your event and submit their answers. We recommend that you don't send this out ahead of time. We recommend that you give this information to the teams once you've actually started up your event. The other thing we'll mention here is that we do when our host games, use Zoom. So we recommend that you use Zoom to facilitate the online meeting space for your event. And then that will allow you to have a place where your teams can come and meet. Yeah, so once everybody's joined your Zoom meeting, what you'll do is you get your team set up. A lot of times what we'll do is use the feature in Zoom called breakout rooms. That will allow you to break people into teams and also send them out into breakout rooms where they can discuss their answers. So that's a good tip for you if you do end up using Zoom to check that feature out. All right, so once the teams have joined, you'll share with them this URL, and you'll also share with them this event code. We'll show you what that looks like of how the player experience will look. So once they click on it, they'll see this page. They'll put in that event code. They'll type in their team name. And then if they want to, they can type in their additional team members. Sometimes it's helpful if you're going to award any prizes afterwards to gather the information right here. So go ahead, they'll click that Let's Go button. And then what they'll do is they'll just click into one of these rounds once you start to present the questions, and that will then give them their answer sheet. So we'll come back to this to show you what that looks like as you go along. All right, so from here, this is where you would kick the event off. So once you're in and you're ready to go, you go ahead and click the Start Event button. This would be a good time to share your screen so that your screen is up in your Zoom meeting so that people can see the questions while they're playing. And then you just go ahead and kick off. You click the Start Event button to actually get the event started. And then usually what we recommend is hitting this full screen button that'll bring the question up into full screen mode while you're presenting. So usually you'll just read the question out loud, just like you would if you were hosting an in-person trivia event. And then you can go ahead and minimize the question. And what we usually do at that point is we recommend that inside of the Zoom tool, you press the breakout room button, which will send your teams into their breakout room, and then also start a timer, which will then bring them back after the breakout's done. And then, yeah, you'd instruct your team to make sure that they're typing in their answer. So inside of their breakout room, there'd be one person on the team who would go in here and type in the answer to the question. So let's say they knew this one. And they wouldn't actually submit their answer sheet until the end of the round. So you'll just let them know not to do that until the round is fully done. All right, so when the teams flow back from their breakout room, you'd go ahead and head to the next question. Just pull it up into full screen mode and read it out loud. And then you do the same thing, send them out to their breakout rooms. While they're there, one person on their team would type in an answer, and then they'd come back. And then you just do the same thing to finish it out. We're gonna go ahead and just fill in the rest of these questions here as we go. There we go. We've got that submitted. And you see once the teams submit that the round will then be locked out. They won't be able to get back in and change their answers at that point. All right, so we're gonna just go ahead and get through all the questions. What you do after you get through the rounds, you'd probably unshare your screen so that teams don't see you, and then you go into a little bit of a scoring break. So you'll hit this button here to go into your scoring break, and that'll then bring you into the scorecard for this game. There's a couple of buttons that are gonna be important here for you. The first one here is this View Remote Teams button. So you go ahead and click on that, and what that'll do is that'll actually bring you to the remote registration page, where you're gonna be able to see all of the teams that have gone through the registration process for your event. You're gonna get some details about them, and then you're also going to get their answer sheets here. So all of these, you'll see all of the answer sheets for all the rounds, and then you'll also see this green dot here. That means that they've actually submitted. So that's a good way to know that the team has got their answers in. If you go ahead and click that, what it'll do is actually bring up their answer submissions. So it'll show you all the questions. It'll show you the answer they submitted. It'll show you the correct answer. And then this little green checkbox here is actually an automated scoring engine that's built into the TriviaHub platform. I'll let you know if that's correct. And then the red X means it's not. So that's a way that you'll be able to check. If you do see something that you would accept, you can override the scoring engine by clicking this yes button under the accept column. That'll go ahead and then accept that answer. And you see there, it'll give you a double check. So that's how you can, if you do want to do that, most of the times you can just rely on the scoring engine. You won't have to do that, but that is a way to override it if you need to. Yeah, so once you've kind of taken a look here, and you'll come back and the next button that'll be important is this Import Remote Teams button. So you'll hit that, and that'll actually bring in all of the teams that you have registered. And then you'll hit this Score Remote Teams button. That'll then go out, look at all of those answer sheets, including any overrides you did, calculate them, and then reshuffle the order here to have people in the right place. And so, now you've done your auto scoring. Usually what you do at this point is you would hit this Return to Last Round button. That'll then bring you back to the first round. You'd share your screen again, and then you would then take teams through the answers. So again, you'd use this full screen pop-up, and then you'd read the question, and you'd be able to hit this Show Answer button. And that would then show the answer to the teams. And then you'd do the same thing and just go through all the questions showing the answers. And then you'd bring the teams back into that scoreboard page. So you hit that end round button and you're brought back into the scoreboard. And this is a place that you would let the teams know what place they're in and who's leading, and maybe make some comments about that. And then you'd go ahead and hit this next round button, and that'll take you into your next round. And that's pretty much what you would do for all of your rounds. Again, we recommend 3 rounds for virtual games. It usually gets you to about that 60 to 90-minute window, which is a really good target. One thing to note, if you do end up with a tie toward the end of the round, the system will take you into a tiebreaker. So that's why it's important to make sure you have a tiebreaker in every one of your games, because then the system will take you into that tiebreaker and allow you to break that tie before you go into the final results page. So that's the details about how you get started with hosting your first virtual event with TriviaHub Live.